Welcome to the Parenting Prep podcast. I'm Dr. Swati, and today we are going to talk about the most important and the most discussed topic, which is reading in young children, especially in the time of screens. And I'm joined today with Lubaina Bandukwala, a wonderful person, I call her the library queen, because every library, I think, requires a fairy queen who brings the best into the library, and that's what she does. But she has been an editor for Times of India, for Scholastic. Her two lovely books are The Chopati Cooking Club and Let's Do This Together. The Cooking Club one, I loved it because I think everyone should have a cooking club at all age groups, And she's also the founder of Peek-a-Book Literature Festival. She actively champions creativity and childhood joy through the BK Foundation and the Jane Goodall Institute. So today we are going to have fun discussing about books, reading, and how to stay away from them screens.
Thank you, Dr. Swati, for first of all having me on this podcast and for that absolutely charming fairy tale introduction. I'm looking forward to this conversation, and oh my goodness, there are hundreds of different ways to get children interested in books. What we really need is to believe that books are important. That's a good starting point, Every time, everywhere I go, people will tell me, oh, do people read? I'm like, reading is the foundation of our modern civilization.
Absolutely.
It is not possible to function if you don't know how to read. Recreational, otherwise, as you know, you're an educator. Literacy is fundamental to what we do. So, heck, why don't we make it fun?
Yes, absolutely.
So, I would say parents, teachers know the value of reading. And then from that, you start the building blocks at various stages. Expose children to books at your school library, your neighborhood, go to bookstores, go to book fairs. Ensure that it is a loving activity. A book is a feeling and sensation. It's not just an object.
How beautiful.
Yeah. When we grow up and parents used to tell us stories, that time was special, right? So shared book is an experience. So I would say that's a starting point, but I'm sure lots of other stuff will come up during our conversation.
Absolutely. And I just loved it. A book is an emotion.
Yes.
And I think that's somewhere where a parent needs to start by sharing that emotion, as you said, rather than, making it a task.
Yes.
That we have to read this book today, or did you finish that book today, etc. Tell me, you do a lot of book fests.
Yes.
And in this day and age when libraries have become extinct, other than in schools, we used to have that neighborhood library,
little garages,
where we used to go every day and look forward to, taking a book out and bringing it home. Do you think fests in some way are bringing back that charm of that neighborhood library?
See, the thing is, it's about discoverability. So, like, if you don't have a good school library, many times, you may not. Where are the places where you discover books? There's no public library. The huge, big libraries, we have gorgeous, beautiful buildings in Bombay that are libraries. But I don't know how many people actually use them. And little neighborhood hole-in-the-wall ones. So they've become like, I don't know where they've gone, what they are. So where do you discover books? So Literature Festival plays a very important role in bringing the latest releases out before parents and teachers and children and say, look, guys, look at these beautiful books that were produced this year. And look, this is the person who wrote them or, illustrated them. And when children meet an author or a illustrator, they can actually put a human being connected to a book, and they're like, oh, this person wrote this book. They had to name myself, the name I saw, right? And when they sign their names and, they feel so thrilled. And then, so there's a human connection to the book.
Yeah.
And that's where literature festivals play a very important role. And a lot of schools also do literature festivals. I think Fodar, the Lit Fest, that sort of thing. So I wanted to ask you actually, Dr. Swati, how about in your schools or in your tremendous experience in education, do you feel that books continue to play as important a role as they always have, or is there a lesser interest in them? I mean, as an author, I'm really interested in that question. I'd be out of a job if there's no interest.
So I would say, yeah, books are still relevant in the foundational years. But the minute you go to primary, etc., it's the textbooks that become more important.
I see.
And I feel somewhere the responsibility is lacking in teachers. Teachers are not, curious about the latest books. I don't find inputs coming from teachers that can we have this book in the library? Or can you add this book for storytelling? So I think that's where the disconnect has come when we say that has reading disappeared in schools. I feel the people who make curriculums for schools are not that aware of the books. The maximum that I've seen a teacher do is try to match a book to a particular unit. Oh, I'm doing animals, so I go to the library and find a book on animals. But they wouldn't know the latest books that have come out. So I feel, as educators, we need to be in touch who are the authors. Yeah, as you said, the human connection. That is missing. If I were to ask today's teacher, name 5 children's authors, I can bet you 100% they won't be able to name them.
I totally agree. And that is something, I mean, if you think about it, India, if I'm looking at English speaking books, basically, we have one of the largest populations in the country. And yet a bestseller is 2,000 books, which is ridiculous.
Very ridiculous.
So where is the disconnect? I'm not understanding, basically. Teachers, students, children want books. Publishers want to sell books.
Yeah.
Authors keep writing books. Where do they meet?
Exactly.
So I think, I
think your festivals.
That's
where they
certainly. And librarian workshops.
Yeah.
Librarians are the most amazing people if we empower them to be aware, Like, for instance, when I consult at libraries, like what I'm doing here, Finland International, we look at the curriculum and we keep, sending books to classrooms and say, oh, you have an animal unit? And they're not books about animals. So we'll be like, why don't you read The One or Only Ivan, which is this beautiful book about the chimpanzee,
Yeah.
So we're saying, look at graphic novels, look at fiction, look at wordless picture books. So that way you're exposed to so many different genres. It's not just, the topic is just the springboard. So I think a librarian that is trained, that is aware, that is constantly learning can be a great support, I think.
You gave me an idea today because we have a teacher training college.
Okay.
I'm going to introduce a course in becoming a librarian. When I'm going to come to you.
Please do.
Because there are no courses available. So why would people want to do it? But there are some people who feel I am good with children, but not in the classroom.
Yeah.
And I'm good with books. Why don't we give them this option?
I think so, Hannah. I think so. So many, informal. Well,
absolutely. So I'm going to ask you another question, which has always been playing in my mind. We always have we ask children, what would you like to be when you grow up? We never find the answer, illustrator, author, librarian. How do we change that narrative?
So, I'll tell you my story. When I was small, I was an obsessive reader. I mean, I was reading on the, bus. I was reading at the dinner table. I was reading even in the classroom, book in the bottle. And my teachers are darlings. They didn't, they knew it and they were like, well, whatever, So for me, an author was my superstar. Wow. I was like, I want to grow up and be an author.
Yeah, Ruskin Bond.
Yeah,
used to have all this.
Yes, absolutely. But as you grow up and start getting practical, people will tell you, you can't make a living.
Yeah, you can't make money out.
You can't make out, So then, you know that you would still want to be a writer. So you become a journalist and somewhere, because that's a profession, right? Acceptable profession. And so then eventually I came back to books because that was my first love. And I believe that everything that you start out with, somewhere inside it's there. Someday in your life, you will become what you really want to be. So allow children to dream. There's no problem. There is a practical aspect to it. And I think that the market needs to become more lucrative. we do have to support our families. We do have to earn a living. There's just not enough sale to justify that I put my entire life to sell, write books, The industry just has to become more lucrative.
But coming back to the classroom, as a teacher or as a parent, why can't I give that little opportunity to a child to, for some time, imagine that I am an author or I am a librarian, because it's going to teach them such multiple skills. Gijubai Badeka in his book writes about making children collect different things and then categorizing them.
No.
And categorizing is such an important skill which a child learns in a library.
Of course. The whole Dewey Decimal System is all yes. Absolutely.
So see the connections in learning also. Why do we think of books as something to be kept on one side in the classroom?
Such a brilliant idea.
I think it all starts to weave, and that's what the new education policy wants. It wants that different subjects must merge together. And I think we need to make a new voice for librarians.
I think so. If the way you say it, it can be a whole, become a librarian for a day.
Yeah.
The whole class to the library.
Exactly.
And take whatever task that you want to. You can do math if you're talking categorization.
Yeah.
You can talk about genres.
Yes.
You can do exploration. Like we had done a little treasure hunt one time, and it was so much fun because we said we give a whole list of questions and we gave them clues to find different genres of books on the bookshelf. So they had to read it, associated with the Dewey Decimal System, or if it was fiction, there was a whole different kind of categorization.
And even do they find the odd one? So on our shelf,
good idea. I write that there.
In a shelf, I can just change books from one shelf to the other and say which one of the don't belong out. Yeah. So there's so much.
Yes.
And when you do these kind of activities, children would naturally get an affinity towards books, towards the library.
Yeah.
And it, as you said at the beginning, then the book becomes an emotion and a friend.
Yes.
And not just something that, it's there and I have to do it.
And the thing is, they actually go to the shelf and find a book.
Yes.
Otherwise, my experience, kids will come and say, Miss, I want a book about cricket. And I'm like, there's a sports shelf, look, but they'll be like, I don't want to find it for me. Find it for me. These days, you really have to work hard at, the children actually doing the work, they have it all laid out for them,
Absolutely.
So, that's one of the wonderful things.
So one of the common questions that parents ask is, how do we select books for children? Can you guide them on?
Sure. See, I personally am a big, big fan of giving agency to the child. You take them to a bookstore, you take them to a book fair. I mean, unfortunately, we don't have book fairs in Bombay, Mumbai, but we like the Delhi book fair, Calcutta book fair. Oof, I am like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, so you take them, you let them browse, you never know what resonates with somebody. And if they know that I have a choice in selecting a book, they're automatically going to want to read it.
Yes.
Because I chose it. And there's something in that book or that picture or something that resonated with me. Unless, eventually all human beings are selfish creatures. It's all about me. So if I find me in the book, I'm going to read it.
How beautiful.
So that is why I think it's important to give children the choice to read books, at least for recreational reading.
True.
In school, we are somewhat limited. Obviously, we have to, But library hour can be a free hour.
Yeah.
Please find your book, and read it.
True.
But, Swati ma'am, I want to say this, that children read differently these days.
Okay.
It is a thing that I've seen, and I think we should accept it. It comes because this is the digital age and everything is so fragmented. And you might have noticed that young people always have headphones on there. I feel it's because they can't deal with the world around them.
Too much of sensory input.
So one time, what happened in our library at FIS, the children said, Miss, we want to read our own books. And both my colleague Darpan and I are like, please, happy to. Go ahead and read it. And then they said, we like to listen to music when we read. So we said, okay, how are you going to do that? So they had headphones. That class was the most focused reading class I've ever had in that whole year.
Wow.
Because they put on their headphones, they were listening to music, and they finished their whole book, you know. So I learned
We should stop them.
we shouldn't stop them, you know, because that's the way they read. They first of all need multiple things happening at the same time. At the same time, they want to filter out stuff that they can't deal with. So, you know,
The filter of that stuff that they don't want.
they don't want.
Yeah.
And that headphone allows them to do that. And then they're focusing on the book.
So why not?
So why not? You
So
know?
I think what you are getting at, and this is so important here for parents who are listening to this, is let's not force our way of reading on them.
Yes.
No? Let's let them thrive in whatever they choose to be. If they are happy reading that way and they are reading,
Yes.
then why do we want to force our way of a disciplined way of reading to
Correct.
them, you know?
Because I think even at our times, if you see, maybe our parents thought this is not the way the child should read. This is not the kind of book that I wanted to read. But if we had a choice and we picked, every generation is going to push the envelope
Right.
and become one with the world around them.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
If our end goal, I mean, I believe that in this day and age, we really need to help children focus. But maybe our way of getting them to focus is not right.
Exactly. Let's learn from them.
Let's learn from them.
Absolutely. You know, I think that works brilliant.
So, yeah, these are all things I learned from children. As an educator, you must have come across that too.
Absolutely. So another thing that strikes me always about books, especially since my childhood, I always used to feel that we are reading about foreign cultures more than we are reading about our cultures. It's only later on when I was exposed to R.K. Narayan and Malgudi Days and Ruskin Bond to a large extent, where you come to know about your culture, your safaris or your animals, etc. What do you have to say about this? You know, do we have enough of Indian authors who write about culture and Indianness? And do you think parents pick up those books?
So, we do have a large body of work that has been created for more than a decade. Not enough, though, because India is enormously diverse and we have stories and stories from all areas. It's coming, though. Do parents pick them up? No, not really.
Why is that?
For many reasons. First of all, you know, the marketing of international books is so pervasive that you will know a Wimpy Kid at sight, but you've never heard of a Shabnam Minwala or Lavanya Karteya or, you know, somebody like that, whereas they're just not there.
Right.
So, I mean, after all, reading is what windows and mirrors, right? So the windows part we've taken care of. Mirrors is essential for children. Because when you look at a book that reflects your reality,
Yes.
first of all, you find representation.
How beautiful you know, said windows and mirrors.
Yeah, so when this book that I wrote, Chopati Cooking Club, the protagonist's name was Sakina. And once I went for this book reading and I was reading and this shy little girl came up to me and said, ma'am, you know, my name is Sakina. And, you know, she saw herself in the book and she felt so happy, you know. So I think that picking up Indian books with Indian names, with Indian situations is extremely important because when children look at themselves, they feel empowered that I can be a character in a book, you know. The second aspect of this, I feel, is that putting yourself into somebody's shoes in a book means you have empathy. You have opened up your heart, opened up your mind, and imagined yourself in some other person's reality. And that is what diversity is all about, you know, and that is essential. You know, this world today, all this craziness all around us. So empathy is essential. So getting books that reflect our reality, allow yourself to put yourself in the shoes of that character, which is definitely easier if it is an Indian child. I think parents should really be picking up more Indian.
Absolutely. You know, we have these in our curriculum. This one I love because it also exposes the child to two languages.
Oh, yes.
You know, so the child
Bilingual.
is seeing, you know. So these are the kind of books, and this one is my favorite because having done my qualification in English and history, when you are teaching facts to children, have you go back to the root of it, known to unknown, you know, and it's a teaching maxim. And this book absolutely does that. And these are so many. This one, So many your books, all your books are so Indian and yet have global themes.
Yes.
So it's a very good confluence of what today's child requires. So I must first say thank you for being that author who brings it into classrooms. And I think anybody who's an educator or a parent listening to this podcast must first pick up her books and then pick up all the other Indian authors. I think that's what we owe it to them. Don't you think so?
I think so. I think our Indian authors write really wonderful books on really diverse themes. And if I may I mention some publishers that
Yes, yeah.
parents can look up.
Yeah,
Like, there's Tulika, there's Tara, there's Karadi Tales. Apart from the Scholastics, the HarperCollins, the Penguin, there's a beautiful publisher called Eklavya and Ektara, both out of Bhopal, who write beautiful Hindi books. Traditionally, Hindi books have always been very didactic and language books in India.
Yeah.
But these are full of joy, full of color. And definitely, I think parents should be looking out
Absolutely.
books. Smaller, independent. Adidev Press is another lovely one. And there's a beautiful publisher out of Bangalore. I can't. Big Beetle Books.
Okay.
Yeah, a Little Dipper.
Okay.
All of these small independent publishers publishing
Wonderful job.
beautiful books.
We should support them. Schools
think
should
so.
support them.
I think-
parents should support them.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
what is it?
Look at your lovely, have you said it? Windows and mirrors. So, yeah, get your global books for the windows, but you also need your local books for the mirrors, And that's why, we also do this. We introduce Indian art forms to children in the form of puzzles. So, right from childhood, they are very culturally connected because, as they say, cognition and culture needs to go hand in hand.
Oh,
And when cognition and culture meet, your child's brain development is going to reach its peak.
how beautiful.
So this is why I feel that Indianness, which was missing in our, selection of books,
Yeah.
needs to be brought back, really. Any other trends you have seen that have changed in children and their reading habits?
Children's reading habits have changed a lot. First, the good part. I think after the pandemic, people have come back to books a lot.
Yeah.
That was the odd, sort of. And so a lot more children are reading because during the pandemic, I mean, I think really they were tired after doing their digital screens on task fatigue.
So tired.
Yeah.
Screen fatigue.
Screen fatigue, yeah. So they actually went back to books. So that's a very lovely
Good thing.
Huge amounts of Indian literature awards happening. Like one we are doing BK Awards, the Neve Awards, So a lot more awareness about Indian children's books, which I would strongly recommend schools and teachers and parents also to follow all these awards because those are sort of vetted and,
Yeah.
a good kind of books.
Yeah.
Third thing is, I think this is fairly standard that after middle school the reading habit tapers off.
Yeah.
Unless the really hardcore readers will read, right? Which is a pity because I think by the time they get to the Ivy level, they really need high level, reading skills. You need analysis, you need inferences, you need, bringing your worldview application. Exactly. So something drastic needs to be done.
I think that's the problem. In the early years, the way parents think play is frivolous.
Yeah.
Same way as the child reaches 10th and 12th and all, the parents thinks reading is frivolous. Whereas both don't understand that play is connected to the brain and reading is connected to the brain.
Absolutely.
Not many parents know that for reading, both sides of my brain are involved.
Absolutely.
So it is so essential for them, And here I also wanted to ask you because I have a very, very weird reading habit and which I have not, many parents have the same problem with their children. My habit is I pick up a book, I start it and then I stop and I pick up another book and I start reading that. So sometimes I'm reading 4 books simultaneously. Paused. I would have paused a book.
Yeah.
And I would have gone. It's not that I won't complete all
Correct.
4. So presently, I'm reading a book called Brainwashed Republic. I'm reading another book called The Anxious Generation. And I'm reading a book on embroidery.
Oh,
because I want to go back to that.
wow, how beautiful.
So, do you think this is wrong? Because many children tend to do that.
I think that if a child picks up a book, it's like never one size just doesn't fit all. Not in the kind of books you read, not in the way you read.
Way you read. Yeah.
You know, so if you're talking about recreational reading, please encourage your child to read no matter how. You know, and allow them the time and the space to read.
And don't be obsessed with finishing the book.
No, don't now. Why should you? I mean, gosh, I have like a mountain of books that I haven't finished. And I think that, well, I'm sorry, but you should just have written a meta book. We could have,
I like that. Sometimes that could be a reason too.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a bad book. It didn't resonate with me.
Yeah. So why should I? Yeah. Why do we take away that from a child?
Of course, you know, so I think that's perfectly all right. Go with the reading habit. That doesn't matter at all. Also, one thing I want to say is that increasingly, you know, how one generation is really different from another in like a space of 1 or 2 years. Like I have 2 daughters, one is 19 and one is 21. The vocabulary is different between 2 of them in just, you know, 1 year. So I think books, I mean, children understand each other and peer groups play a very big role, you know, in the kind of books you choose and whether you read or not. So one aspect I think from middle school is to encourage children to form their own book clubs. Because when they start reading and when they, you know, recommend to each other and they have things to discuss that are unique to their world that grown-ups may not understand, that's a great way to get them to continue their reading journey.
I think it also brings in them a sense of belonging.
Of course.
That my peer group likes this, so I have to belong, so I also need to like this. So that's good.
Absolutely. There's the most tribal cultures, no? The teenagers,
Very well said.
So essentially allow them to do that, you know.
Absolutely. So absolutely.
All, nothing needs to be conventional about reading is my point, you know.
Why does the world get so threatened with books and reading that anytime something new comes, when the radio came, they thought books will become extinct. When television came, they thought books will become extinct. Why do you think we are so insecure about books and reading? Because I think it will never go.
I don't think it'll go either.
Yeah.
I mean,
So why do you think the world is so insecure?
I think in this era, more than anything, we are so inundated in digital that we can't see beyond it. I mean, you know, it's like I put my phone away for 5 minutes and I'm thinking I'm disconnected from the world.
Yeah.
You know, I think we need to understand that as human beings, we need the pockets of solitude.
Yeah.
And that comes from
From books.
yeah.
Very well said.
And I'm telling you, that is the reason
I
why
love
books will never go away.
Mm.
Even as
Pockets of
children.
solitude.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So beautiful.
Even as children, you know, if you make little spaces in your classroom, in your
Yeah.
in your home.
Yeah.
Like one of the things that I used to do for my kids was, you know, those big cardboard boxes. I was like, make it your own. You know, so they would put old pattas or like cushions in it, and that would be their reading corner, you know.
Oh, lovely.
Because I know when I was growing up, I used to make dolls' houses with those things.
I think you should ask our viewers how many of them have a reading corner for their child. I think that should be the next target now. Every parent must have a reading corner for their child.
Yes. Allow the child to choose it. What's your quiet spot?
Yeah.
Might be under the dining table.
Absolutely.
You know, how do you know basically? And make sure that the children have access to books. You know, everybody says the parent needs to be a reader. I don't always agree. You know, make books available to them. Understand the value of reading. Like my parents were big consumers of newspapers and periodicals, but not long form novels or whatever.
Okay.
But they always took me to book, you know, in my time we used to have those Russian book fairs.
Oh, yeah.
No?
I have so many of the Pasha and Masha and the Bear. I have those movies, yeah. And they used to be cheap, 2 rupees, 3.
Fabulous illustration on this. So they always took me for those things and let me, you know. So, yeah, take them to all these. You don't have to read. It's all right.
Yeah.
Make sure they have access to
Absolutely.
basically. So,
Just like you take them shopping to malls.
correct.
In every mall, there is a bookshop.
Correct.
Why not pay a visit there too?
Of course.
है ना?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's how we.
Another trend I'm seeing when children are now used to, even adults are used to reading on screens, they're not completing a book because they feel it's too much of reading.
Do you think?
Because whatever they read on the screen is short. So give me so when they see a book that's thick,
Yeah.
they feel
You're so right.
concise this and give me, no?
You're so right.
But then why did children read Harry Potter? That was thick.
So there are very few authors who are able to, take a story along at the pace that J.K. Rowling did.
Yeah.
There was always some, like even Percy Jackson's, the pace is really, In Harry Potter, I think it was more relatability. They were all school stories.
Exactly.
So,
that's what you say.
Yeah.
That if a child stops reading at a particular point, it may have to do with the content.
Yeah.
More than the habit.
Yeah. It's like, what's in this for me?
Yes.
Is it articulating feeling?
Or is it connecting with?
Is it connecting with me? Sometimes, when you're reading a book and there's this vague feeling that you have and the author puts it in words, you're like, oh, that's how I'm feeling,
Absolutely.
So that starts happening in the middle schools.
Yeah.
It's no more just a story. It's like, solve my problem for me. Help me feel less anxious.
True.
Let me know that other people are feeling this way. How do I make friends? How do I deal with first love? What should I do if I'm being bullied?
Yeah. So these are pertain to me, my situation. Right?
Those kind of books will sort of relate. But you're right. We need to just write thinner books, really. Would just do. I see that all the time. Kids are like, oh, miss, that's too much.
Yeah. Do I have to read that?
I have to read this.
I think the look itself makes you feel, will I be able to go through it?
Yes, exactly. It's intimidating.
Yeah, it's very intimidating.
So, I mean, it is what it is. I agree with.
Authors listening to us won't like it, but
Well,
deal with it. Absolutely. So tell me, which presently, what are the kind of books that you like to read?
I'm always reading children's books.
But same here.
No, but as an adult, I love fast-paced mystery books, spy thrillers. So there's a whole series called Slow Horses that I'm reading. It's wonderful. There's that lovely book by a Japanese author. Oh gosh, I forgot. Found in the library or something like that. It's a beautiful book. I shall give you a copy. It's about how everybody finds a solution to their life problems by a particular book in the library.
Okay.
That's a lovely book. I'm reading Zen by Shabnam Minwala. I love it. I finished it. It was very nice. A Henna Startup by Adilib Wajid. That's a young adult book. Reading lots of new picture books that have come out. And the latest one in this Sounds of Freedom series. It's called Dandi. It's about the Dandi March, but there's a mystery. There's a murder mystery.
Okay.
It's a great one. Sorry?
I must pick that up.
By Lavanya Karthik.
Okay.
And
she writes very well.
She writes very well. It's a lovely, it's the Songs of Freedom series that looks at the freedom movement from the eyes of children.
Okay.
So it's a really fun mystery, and it talks about the Dandi March in a very sort of I saw it with my own eyes kind of a thing.
Okay.
So it makes history real.
Okay.
That's a good book. That's where my Chopati Cooking Club comes from. Also, those are the books that I'm reading.
And tell me, how can a family make reading a family activity?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of scope for family. First of all, when children are small, I was just talking to somebody that you just put that screen in front of them to make them finish their food, right?
Starts from there.
Yeah. Why not a book? Why not a book? Yeah. And my little niece, she'll bring out her books every time it's the food time. So sweet. Because she's used to that, basically. Then many times you form like a family book club. Everybody reads the same book.
Okay.
And, my family does that because all of us bring different lenses to it.
Into it, yeah.
You know, my kids bring a teenage lens, my husband brings a whole male gaze, and I, you know, have my own package that I bring. Just a reading experience. The author gaze, or just, you know, my own quirks. Like, I would read this book because it's got a sad ending, but I don't like sad endings. So that really limits my experience. But yeah, well.
And I think even having a discussion with the family about a book, what did you like about it, what did you not like about it, I think that brings about more interest in that.
Yes. And the other thing that can be done is to connect media. So if there's a movie out there that is based on a book,
Okay.
you know, so you, like my kids watch the movies all the time, then I'll suggest to them, come, let's read the book,
Okay.
you know, and let's see how it adds up. Right. That sort of thing. Was it true to the book? Was it not? No, I think it was different. Should have been treated this way. Just fun, you know,
Yeah.
conversation. So,
Now, there is another new trend called audiobooks.
yes.
First of all, I don't know how audio can be a book. So,
Actually,
what do you
it's
say
lovely.
about that?
I'm all for audiobook.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
I can't listen for long because I read faster than I listen. So that is a bit annoying. But you know how they're like for learners, they're all different kinds of learners. There are visual learners,
Auditory.
there are auditory learners. So I may not want to read, but I'd love to listen to the stories.
Okay.
So why not?
Okay.
You know?
So we shouldn't stop children. We should give them all the options.
I think technology can be a book's enemy, can also be a book's friend.
I think in the form of audiobooks, it has become a friend.
It has.
Then at least in the audio form, children are reading those books or understanding those books, not reading them.
And sometimes if the narrator is a good, like Stephen Fry has done the Harry Potter books, should listen to his voice. Lovely. You know, it just draws you into that world.
Karate Tales did it with a lot of people for all their books.
Yes.
They made a lot of television stars and film stars, the audio books on that.
Yeah.
So I think that tells parents a lot. Have a library corner. Make reading a family event.
Yes.
Introduce audiobooks if you want to your children. Please bring in the Indian books.
Yes.
Because that brings the mirror.
Yeah.
And your global books bring the window.
Yes.
There is so much for when we talk about the world of reading, there is so much that can be done. And yes, I would say make it a point to at least introduce your child to 5 book authors and illustrators.
Absolutely.
So they understand that something human and the human connection about the book.
Yeah.
So that was wonderful. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
My absolute pleasure.
I had fun. I don't know about them, but I had fun. So to everybody listening to us, please let us know your comments, your thoughts, your version of what you think reading and books should be for today's child. And please like, please comment, please subscribe, and please share.